My life, I'd never drank anything. I'd never done any drugs. I was not smoking cigarettes. There was no way I was going to ever be a part of what I saw growing up, especially the domestic violence. When I landed, the newspaper says, Broncos advance, the happiest day of my life. I was away from this chaos and craziness, so I felt like, you know what, now I can go live my life. I'm famous now. I'm making money. I'm rich now. My first game was against the San Francisco 49ers. All I had to do was go back there and stand on the 10-yard line and catch a punt. So the ball's in the air, and we're playing in Candlestick Stadium. The wind blows around like crazy in Candlestick Stadium. But I can catch a ball with my eyes closed, especially a punt. One hand. But the ball was blowing around, and so I'm standing on the 10-yard line. I'm going back and forth. I end up reaching up to catch the ball after looking down. It hits my hands and rolls in the end zone. San Francisco scores a touchdown and wins the ball game. My career's over with. My teammates are looking at me from the sideline going, now I know my career's over with, so we're heading back home to Colorado. And the next morning we're heading to the field and we're going to go out there. We have to watch the film and they're going to do the cuts. I'm so nervous. I asked the guys, what can I do to get away from this anxiety that I'm feeling right now? They said, oh, don't worry. We're going to stop by the liquor store and just a quick shot of tequila. I was like, no, I don't drink. They said, come on, man, just one shot. Peer pressure. So I did a shot of tequila and I was like, oh. So you tell me all I had to do was just do a shot of tequila once in a while when I was growing up and I could have just got away from this anxiety and the stress that I was dealing with? I could have coped with the stuff that I saw as a child? Then it introduced me to pills, because the pills kept me on the football field. And a little bit of alcohol and a little bit of pills kept me brave as heck when I went out and partied. I ended up starting to date. I dated this young lady and she ends up calling me about 6-7 months later and she says to me, I'm pregnant, I'm in Houston, Texas, I'm going to have an abortion. And I beg her, please don't have an abortion. My family, we don't believe in killing babies. So the first thing I do is I get drunk, ask her to marry me. I fly out to Houston, Texas. I'm drunk. I'm stoned off my butt. We catch an airplane to Las Vegas, and we drive through one of those drive-thrus and got married for $11. We get back to Colorado, and we had a little boy named Vaughn. Amazing young man. I go back to practice one day, and no one knows that I'm married. And I'm in the shower with about 68 other guys, big ones, if you know what I mean. One of the guys looks over and says, so how's our girl Ange? I said, what? Another guy says, you know Ange, a big freak. I'm so pissed off that I run home. And I run upstairs and I'm screaming and hollering. And I'm yelling and I'm throwing the television off the wall. I'm breaking things and I push her across the bed and she hits her head on the door. And I think she's dead. I pick her up and I carry her to the bathroom and I'm trying to dump water in her face to try to get her back, revive her. And when she comes to, I'm still so freaking angry. Then now, I'm like, I'm going to get back at everyone who ever hurt me. Yeah, my father, you know what, he was horrible, and he hit my mother, and he did crazy stuff. But she cheated on me, and so this is my world, and I'm going to do whatever I want to do. So I became the biggest cheater. I became the biggest user. I was so miserable because I had no coping skills as a child. My only way to cope now was to use and try to get fame and be even more popular and make touchdowns and play reckless on the football field. I'd be driving 150 miles an hour down the highway. A cop pulls me over. It's a Saturday afternoon. I got a game on Sunday. He's like, what am I supposed to do, put you in jail? My son's going to say, Dad, Vance could have caught the winning touchdown. I'm ashamed to talk about these things, but I have to be transparent. Because it's about time that someone just comes out and says, listen, there's a problem and we have to deal with this. As time went on, I go to a Super Bowl. I'm like, this is all there is? I go back home just empty. I'm sitting in a closet, drunk, high. This praying mother of mine calls me and says, son, I just called to see how you're doing. I'm in there trying to cut my wrist because I just want to die. Because I can't cope. So I get married over and over again. Every time I get in an argument or something happens at the house, I can't function because I didn't grow up knowing how to do these things. So I use and I abuse. My kids get dropped off at the football game sometimes right before the game. My boys are running up and down the field. My two youngest boys just running, just happy, happy, happy. The fans are like, oh, Vance Johnson's such a good father because my kids are running up and down the field. I hand them back to their moms. I see them every other weekend. I pay my child support. What kind of father was I? What kind of believer? I went to church. I thought I believed in God. I make sure I sit up close to the front of the church. I was that one to point up in the sky when I make a touchdown. Yeah, that's for you, Lord. But who was I really worshiping? I wanted to make sure the preacher saw me. I want to make sure everyone that was sitting out in the audience saw that Vance Johnson was there. I threw a couple bucks over in the pot. to make sure I donated, but I was looking out and worshiping self. These were my coping ways in my life. Well, my career is over with now. 10 years, 3 Super Bowls. I could tell you so many stories, but I'm embarrassed to talk about all of them.
Say, can you see?